I want you to picture a specific moment. It's a moment almost everyone, aspires to. You walk into a bank branch,
Hmm.
and maybe it's got those nice glass walls, the plush carpet. You sit down in a leather chair across from a loan officer who is smiling at you like you're their best friend.
Yeah, they're always smiling.
Always. You sign a stack of papers about an inch thick, your hand cramps up, and then they hand you a set of keys. You walk out thinking, I did it. I achieved the American dream. I'm a homeowner.
It feels like a total victory lap. But if you
Awesome.
actually, cracked open a linguistic history book, or just a dictionary, really, and looked up the contract you just signed, the vibe changes.
It really does.
Instantly.
We are talking about the word mortgage. It's a word we say so casually, but the origin story is straight out of a horror movie.
It gets a lot darker than people realize, yeah.
Mortgage literally translates from Old French as death pledge.
Death. Pledge.
Mort means death. Gage means pledge.
Which is incredibly fitting. I mean, considering how the modern banking system is designed, it is a pledge to pay until you die.
Or at the very least, a pledge that kills your financial freedom for, the prime working years of your life.
Exactly.
And that is what we are unpacking on this deep dive. We're looking at a stack of sources that are, frankly, a little aggressive. They're audacious. We aren't here to pat you on the back for getting a loan. We're talking about a heist.
A heist.
A literal heist.
Uh-huh.
We are talking about shattering the normalization of the 30-year bet cycle. We're going to look at why your house, despite what your parents or your, broke uncle told you, is actually a liability, not an asset.
Right.
And we are going to walk through a very specific 3-phase battle plan to break that death pledge in 10 years or less.
And just to set the stakes here, this isn't just about semantics or old French history. This is about bleeding money. The median mortgage payment right now is sitting over $1,700 a month.
Yeah.
In some cities, it's double that.
$1,700. I did the math on this because I was hungry when I was prepping.
Oh, no.
That buys you about 242 pounds of Sour Patch Kids every single month.
Please don't make that your alternative investment strategy. Your dentist will take all the profits.
Fair point. But the visualization matters. That is a massive volume of resources leaving your pocket. And the mission of this deep dive is to stop that bleeding. We aren't talking about surviving the payments.
No.
We are talking about robbing the bank of the interest they think they're entitled to.
And that starts with a fundamental sort of psychological shift in how we view the house itself. You hear it all the time, right?
Yeah.
My house is my biggest asset.
It's the cornerstone of traditional financial advice. It's what you put on your net worth statement to make yourself feel a little better.
Right. But our sources today are just flipping that table over. They're saying that's a lie.
Well, let's look at the accounting then.
Okay, so if we're being technically accurate about net worth, the formula is brutally simple. It's just assets minus liabilities, what you own minus what you owe.
Okay, so most people look at the Zillow estimate and say, well, the house is worth $400,000, so I have a $400,000 asset.
But you don't.
Yeah.
Not if you have a $350,000 mortgage on it. You have a $50,000 asset and a $350,000 liability. The bank owns the note.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as the bank holds that note, that house is a massive liability. It is taking money out of your pocket every month.
Yep.
By definition, an asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out.
There was a great analogy in the research about a Mazda Miata.
Ah, the classic midlife crisis car.
Exactly. You can drive around in a convertible looking like you've made it. You look wealthy to the neighbors. But if you're drowning in payments for it, you aren't wealthy.
They're just acting.
You're just acting. And the house is the same thing. Until the deed is in your hands, you are essentially renting from the bank with a very expensive down payment.
And here is the harsh reality check, and this is where the death pledge part feels very real. The bank is not your partner. They aren't your friend.
They are definitely not. I mean, they have really good marketing that says we're in this together, but it's just marketing.
If you lose your job or get sick, or, I love this detail from the source, if you decide to quit your job to pursue a dream of becoming a ventriloquist.
Which, hey, follow your dreams, but the bank doesn't care about your puppet show.
They do not. If the checks stop coming, the clock starts ticking. It usually takes only about 4 months of missed payments for foreclosure proceedings to begin.
4 months.
4 months. That is a very short runway between homeowner and homeless.
Wow. So the goal here, the strategy we are breaking down, is to shift the house from being a risky liability that hangs over your head like a guillotine into a net worth boosting asset.
And the only way to do that is to remove the bank from the equation entirely. And to do that, we have to understand the math of the 30-year mortgage. I call this the stupid tax.
It really is a tax on people who don't run the numbers. Because when you look at a 30-year amortization schedule, it is designed for one thing.
To make the bank rich?
And keep you poor.
Yeah. Let's walk through the specific numbers provided in the source material because they're eye-opening. Let's say you buy a $400,000 home, you put 20% down, and you have a 6% interest rate. Pretty standard stuff.
Okay, so I've got a $320,000 loan balance.
Correct. Now, if you take the 30-year option over the life of that loan, do you know how much you pay in interest alone?
I feel like I'm going to be sick, but okay, tell me.
Roughly $370,000.
Wait, hold on, pause. The loan was $320,000,
Oh.
and I'm paying $370,000 just in interest.
Yes. You are paying more in interest than the actual value of the loan. The total cost of that home ends up being $770,000.
So you buy one house for yourself.
And you bought a second, slightly more expensive house for the bank.
That is nauseating.
Now compare that to a 15-year term. Same house, same rate. On a 15-year mortgage, you pay about $166,000 in interest. Total cost, $566,000.
So just by signing the paper that says 30 instead of 15, I am volunteering to give the bank an extra, what is that, over $200,000.
Over $200,000. That is the price of the death pledge. You are literally working for years of your life just to pay the bank extra profit.
Why does anyone do the 30-year then? Is it just for the lower monthly payment?
That's it. It lowers the monthly payment by stretching the pain out over 3 decades. But the cost of that lower payment is your financial future. It's amortization. In the first few years of a 30-year mortgage, almost your entire payment is interest. You aren't paying off the house. You're just servicing the bank's profit margin.
There's a maxim from the source that I love. Broke people pay interest. Wealthy people earn it.
It's so true. And if you look at the behavior of actual net worth millionaires, I mean, people who actually have money, not just high incomes, they don't play this game. A national study showed that net worth millionaires pay off their homes in an average of 10.2 years.
Not 30.
Never 30. They understand that time is the enemy of wealth when you have debt.
Okay, so we're sold on the why. Nobody wants to pay an extra $200,000 for a house they already bought. But how do we actually do this? Because $400,000 is a lot of money to cough up.
It is. And that's why the sources lay out a very specific 3-phase plan. And I like that they frame it as a heist. You have to be strategic. You don't just run into the bank vault without a plan.
Right. So let's unpack phase 1. This is the setup. And interestingly, the expert advice here is do not attack the mortgage yet.
Correct. And that sounds counterintuitive, I know. You're angry at the mortgage, you want to kill it. But if you attack the mortgage while you are financially vulnerable, you're going to get wiped out. Phase 1 is all about stability.
So what's on the checklist?
First, you had to kill all other consumer debt. Credit cards, student loans, car payments.
All of it.
And the source specifically mentions furniture financing.
Yes. The power recliners from Rooms to Go.
Listen, the sources are very clear on this.
Yeah.
If you are financing a chair, you cannot afford to pay off a house.
Yeah.
You are paying interest on a place to sit. You need to clear the deck. All that monthly cash flow that's going to Visa and Ford and the furniture store, that needs to be reclaimed.
Okay, consumer debt is gone. What's next?
Emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months of expenses sitting in a boring savings account. This is your insurance policy. If you dump all your cash into the mortgage and then the water heater explodes or you lose your job, you can't get that money back out of the house easily.
Right. The house is an illiquid asset. You can't sell a shingle to buy groceries.
Exactly. You need liquidity to prevent foreclosure. The emergency fund is the moat around the castle.
Makes sense. And the third part of phase 1 is retirement. You need to ensure 15% of your household income is going into tax-advantaged retirement plans before you attack the house.
Yes.
You don't want to end up with a paid-off house at 65, but $0 to buy food.
That's called being house rich and cash poor. We want to be rich, rich.
Okay, so that's phase 1. We're stable, we're safe, we're investing. Now we move to phase 2, finding margin.
Right.
And this is where the audacious financial analyst persona really comes out. This is about finding money where there isn't any.
Margin is just the gap between your income and your expenses. And to widen that gap, you have 2 levers. You can pull the spend less lever or the make more lever,
On the spend less side, the source suggests doing something called a no-spend month.
which is exactly what it sounds like. You pay your bills, you buy basic groceries, and that is it. No restaurants, no Amazon, no subscriptions, no coffees. You strip your spending down to the bare bones to see how much cash you can actually squeeze out of your paycheck.
It's like a financial detox.
It is. And it usually reveals a lot of leaks. You realize, oh, I was spending $400 a month on takeout. But sometimes you can only cut so much. You can't budget your way out of a starvation wage.
So you pull the other lever.
So you have to pull the other lever, make more. Side hustles, asking for a raise, fighting for a promotion. The mindset here is strategic intensity. Every extra dollar you find, whether it's from selling an old guitar or delivering pizzas on Friday night, is ammunition.
I love that word ammunition because in phase 3, we start shooting. Phase 3 is the execution.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
You take all that margin, that extra $500, $1,000, $2,000 a month, and you throw it at the mortgage.
But, and this is a huge but, there is a trap here, a technical trap that the banks love. And if you get this wrong, you waste all your effort.
This is the most crucial technical detail in the entire deep dive. So listen closely. If you just send the bank extra money, say you send a check for $3,000 instead of your usual $2,000,
Okay.
their default setting is often to apply that extra money toward future interest.
Which does you absolutely no good.
Zero good.
Zero.
It just prepays the next month's bill. It doesn't reduce the loan balance effectively. It keeps you on their schedule.
So you're just paying them in advance. You aren't attacking the debt at all.
Exactly. You have to explicitly request. Sometimes it's a checkbox on the website that says principal only. Sometimes you literally have to call a human being and tell them that the extra payment be applied to the capital or principal.
The meat of the loan.
Right. Because here's the magic of the math. Interest is calculated based on the outstanding balance. If you lower the balance, the principal today, the amount of interest the bank calculates for tomorrow is lower.
It's a snowball effect.
It is. You lower the principal, so the interest drops, which means more of your next payment hits the principal, which lowers the interest further. This is how you shave 15 or 20 years off a mortgage.
You are literally denying the bank their profit.
That's nice.
And people who follow this kind of intense plan, like the Ramsey plan mentioned in the source, they aren't taking 30 years.
No, they're actually in about 7 years.
7 years. Imagine that. You buy a house at 30 and you own it free and clear by 37.
It changes the entire trajectory of your life. And think about the savings. Remember that $200,000 difference between the 15 and 30 year? If you pay it off in 7, you're saving even more. You are keeping hundreds of thousands of dollars in your own pocket.
Okay, let's talk about that payoff because
Yeah.
we've talked a lot of math, the 200,000 savings, the interest rates. But the source material touches on something deeper, the psychological benefit.
It's massive. There is a physiological response to debt. It's stress, it's cortisol, it's waking up at 3 a.m. worrying about layoffs. When you eliminate the mortgage, you eliminate the biggest threat to your security.
The source made a joke about fewer trips to the gastroenterologist.
Which is funny, but probably true. Stress manifests physically. When you own your home, your stress levels just plummet.
But beyond health, think about the freedom. If you don't have that $1,700 payment leaving your account every month, what does your life look like?
Exactly. That $1,700 you can invest, that $1,700 you can use to travel, or, as the source put it, beefing up the beef fund.
I think he said he smells like beef. I don't know if that's a goal of mine, but I get the point.
The point is generosity. The point is options. When you own your home 100%, you have what we call FU money. If your boss is toxic, you can quit. If you want to start a business, you can. You aren't tethered to a paycheck just to keep a roof over your head.
Just your name.
And that is a feeling that renting or having a mortgage simply cannot replicate. It's the difference between looking rich and being free.
So, let's recap this journey. We started with the death pledge, a 30-year sentence of paying a stupid tax to the bank. We realized the house is a liability until we own it.
Then we set the foundation. No consumer debt, big emergency fund, retirement investing. We built the fortress.
We found the margin by cutting the fat and boosting the income. We found the ammunition.
And then we executed the heist. We attacked the capital, checking that box every single time, and turned a 30-year slog into a 7 to 10-year sprint.
And now, instead of a death pledge, we have what the source calls a perpetual jubilation contract.
I like that much better.
I do too.
Yeah.
So here's the challenge for you listening right now. We don't want this to just be entertainment. We don't want you to just listen to this on your commute and then go home and ignore your bank statement.
We want this to be a turning point.
Yes. So if you want to stay in this mindset, the source material explicitly recommends you subscribe to the Investor.Mindset channel. You need to keep feeding your brain this kind of audacious financial content.
The world wants you to stay in debt. You need a constant reminder to stay free.
And like the content, it helps the algorithm find more people who need to escape the death pledge.
But here is the real call to action. I want you to do the math. Look at your balance, look at your margin, and I want you to leave a comment or write it on your bathroom mirror with the specific year you plan to be totally debt-free.
Not someday. A year. 2030. 2032. Put a date on it.
Make it real. Once you set a deadline, the how starts to show up.
Because there's no better image to leave you with than that amortization schedule, that list of thousands of payments dwindling down to zero.
And finally holding a piece of paper that says you own the dirt you're standing on and no bank can ever take it away from you.
That's the goal. Thanks for taking the deep dive with us today. Good luck with the heist.
See you next time.